Level 1. The Beginner. You walk into a boxing gym for the first time on a Thursday afternoon, and the smell hits you before anything else. Leather and sweat, and something underneath both of those things that you cannot name, but that you will never forget. It is the smell of effort accumulated over decades. Every bag that has been hit in this room, every round that has been worked, every fighter who stood where you are standing and felt what you are feeling right now, it is all still in the air somehow. The gym is not what the movies prepared you for. There is no dramatic lighting, there are no slow-motion montages. There are cracked mirrors on one wall and a ring in the center that is older than most of the people training in it. There are heavy bags hanging from chains and speed bags mounted on platforms, and a man in the corner hitting mitts with a trainer who is calling out combinations in a rhythm that sounds almost musical. Nobody looks at you when you walk in. The trainer eventually comes over. He looks at you the way mechanics look at cars people bring in, assessing damage and potential simultaneously. He asks if you have ever trained before. You say no. He nods like you said something he already knew. He hands you a jump rope. Jump rope for 15 minutes. You cannot jump rope for 15 minutes. You cannot jump rope for 4 minutes without the rope catching your feet and stopping, and you having to start again. The rhythm that looks effortless from the outside is a skill that your body does not yet possess, and the developing of it is humiliating in a specific way that only exists when you are failing at something that children do easily. You jump rope badly for 15 minutes. Your calves burn, your shoulders ache. The trainer watches for 30 seconds, then goes back to the fighter on the mitts. You are not interesting yet. You are just another person who walked in off the street with an idea about themselves that this gym is going to test. You come back on Saturday. You come back the following Tuesday. You keep coming back. Not because it gets easier immediately, because something about the difficulty is pulling you forward instead of pushing you away. You cannot explain this. You do not try to. You just keep showing up and jumping rope badly and slowly over weeks, less badly. And then one day you jump for 15 minutes without stopping, and you look up and the trainer is watching, and he gives you one small nod. That nod. You will remember that nod for years. Level 2. The Gym Fighter. 6 months in, your hands have learned things your brain didn't teach them. The jab lands without you thinking about the jab. The footwork moves your body around the ring, and you are not counting the steps anymore. The combinations flow in a way that felt impossible when you were standing in front of the mirror in your first week, throwing punches at your own reflection and feeling ridiculous. You spar for the first time. The trainer puts you in with someone who has been training for a year, and the instruction is simple. Move. Keep your hands up. Don't think about hitting. Think about not getting hit. This is the first lesson of boxing that nobody who hasn't sparred understands from the outside. The hitting is the easy part. The not getting hit is the entire sport. The first punch that lands on your face is a revelation. Not because it hurts. It does hurt. But because it is so different from anything you anticipated. The impact travels through your whole head. The world stutters for a half second. Your eyes go strange. And then something ancient and chemical fires in your blood, and you stop thinking, and you start reacting. And the reaction is real in a way that nothing in your life has felt as immediately real. You spar 3 rounds. You get hit more than you land. You are breathing through your mouth by the end of round 2. In round 3, your arms are so heavy that the gloves feel like they are filled with concrete. The trainer stops it and tells you to take a knee and catch your breath. And you take the knee, and you look at the canvas underneath you, and you feel something that you also cannot name. Not defeat, something that lives next to defeat, but points in the opposite direction. You come back the next day with bruises on your face that you explain to people at work with a story that that becomes less convincing every time you tell it. You don't care. The bruises are evidence of something real. You keep training. You have your first gym fight. Not a real fight, a controlled sparring session against someone from another gym, arranged by the trainers to give both of you experience. You win. Not cleanly, messily, but the hand gets raised, and the feeling of the hand being raised travels through your arm and into something deeper, and you understand in that moment what this sport is actually selling.
Not violence, not toughness, the hand being raised. That specific moment, you would do almost anything to feel it again.
Level 3. The amateur fighter. You registered with the National Boxing Federation. You have a license. You have a record now. Not a professional record, an amateur record. And the record is the first external evidence that the thing you have been doing in the gym exists in the world beyond the gym. Amateur boxing is different from what people imagine when they imagine boxing. The headgear, the larger gloves, the scoring system that rewards punching volume and technique over damage. You are learning to fight for points, which is a different skill than fighting to hurt, and the distinction matters more than most people outside the sport understand. Your first tournament, a regional Golden Gloves, or a state championship, or a local amateur card, whatever the entry point is in your area. You sit in the locker room before your bout, and the waiting is its own specific experience. The fight itself will last 6 minutes total across 3 rounds. The waiting lasts 2 hours. Your hands are wrapped, your gloves are on. You are fully prepared and have nothing to do with the preparation, and the nothing is its own form of torture. Your name gets called. You walk through a door, and there is a crowd and lights, and someone announces your name and weight class over a microphone, and you climb through the ropes, and the trainer gives you last instructions that you hear but do not fully process because your nervous system is doing something independent of your conscious mind. The bell rings. The first 30 seconds of a real fight are nothing like sparring. The crowd, the lights, the stakes, they do something to your opponent. They do something to you. Adrenaline changes the way punches feel, and the way you throw them, and the way time moves. Round 1 is almost always survival. By round 2, something settles. By round 3, you are fighting. You win some, you lose some. The losses are the education. You watch the footage of every fight you lose. You watch it more than the fights you win. You find the moment where it went wrong, the habit that your opponent exploited, the pattern that gave you away. You take it back to the gym and you fix it. Then something else breaks and you fix that. The process is endless, and the ending of it is what becoming a fighter actually means. Level 4. The national level amateur. Your record is good, not perfect. Nobody who is honest has a perfect record at this level, because the honest trainers put their fighters in hard fights where they will be tested rather than easy fights where they will look good. The hard fights are the ones that build something real. The easy wins build nothing except a record that lies. You are traveling now. Regional tournaments, national qualifiers, events in other cities and occasionally other states. You are sleeping in budget hotels and eating from gas stations and sitting in vans with other fighters for hours and arriving at gyms in unfamiliar cities and taping your hands in locker rooms that smell the same as every other locker room you have ever been in, because there is apparently one universal smell that locker rooms share across all geographies and all sports. The competition is different at this level. The fighters you are meeting now have been doing this since they were 8 years old. They grew up in boxing families. They have been in gyms since before you knew boxing was something you wanted. The fundamentals are in their body at a depth yours have not yet reached. You can feel the difference when you are in front of them, a certain economy of movement, a certain calmness, the absence of the micro-decisions that you still have to make consciously, that they have long since stopped making consciously at all. You train twice a day now, morning session before work or school, evening session after. You have reorganized your entire life around the training, the social invitations you decline, the events you miss, the relationships that have thinned because you are not available in the way that relationships require to stay thick. Your trainer says sacrifice is the price. You know this already. You have been paying it. You just didn't know it was going to cost this specific set of things. Your body is changing in ways that are visible and ways that are not. The visible changes people comment on. The invisible ones only you know. The way your left shoulder aches after long sparring sessions, the ringing in your ears after a particularly hard week, the way you calculate every physical situation in your daily life through the lens of how it might affect training. You sleep on your back to protect your face. You don't shake hands the week before a fight.
You live inside a set of physical calculations that have become the background music of your existence.
Level 5. The professional debut. Someone offered you a contract, a small promotional company. The contract is not glamorous. 4 rounds, a purse that would not impress anyone, a fight on an undercard in a venue that holds 800 people and will have 400 in it on fight night. But it is a professional contract. You sign it with a hand that is steadier than you expected. Your first pro fight is against someone with a record of 2 wins and 4 losses. The matchmakers call this an opponent. The word opponent in professional boxing means something specific, someone brought in to test you without destroying you, to give you rounds and experience, to let the promotional machine evaluate what you are before they invest more in developing it. You know this. You train for it anyway, as if it is the most important fight of your life, because your trainer tells you that every fight is the most important fight of your life, and you have decided to believe him. Fight night. The venue is small, the production is minimal, the ring announcer mispronounces your name. The crowd is largely there for the main event, and you are 3 fights before the main event. You climb through the ropes, and a few people cheer. Your family, your gym, the people who drove here specifically for you. You win, a decision, 4 rounds that you control from the second round forward after the first round reminds you again that real fights are different from sparring in ways that experience is the only teacher of. You raise your hand before the judge's decision is announced, because you know already. You can feel it in the round. The promoter shakes your hand after. He says, "Good job." He says he'll be in touch. You nod and you go back to the locker room and you sit on a bench and your trainer takes your gloves off and neither of you says anything for a moment. The quiet between you contains everything. The years of training, the mornings, the weight cuts, the fights you won and the ones you didn't. All of it is in the quiet. Your family is outside waiting. You take a minute before you go out to see them. Just 1 minute, just to be in the moment alone before it becomes a memory. Level 6. The ranked contender. Your record reads 10 wins, 1 loss, 7 knockouts. The knockout number is the one that gets you attention. Knockouts are the currency of professional boxing at this stage. They are what separates the fighters who fill arenas from the fighters who never graduate beyond 4-round undercards. Your hands have proven something. The sport is paying attention. You have a real manager now, a real trainer. The team around you has professionalized in a way that reflects your record. The manager makes calls. The trainer designs camps. There are sparring partners brought in specifically for each fight, fighters whose style mimics the upcoming opponent, so that you see the problems before you see them for real. The preparation has become scientific. The science is exhausting in a new and specific way. The weight cuts are the thing nobody talks about enough. You fight at a weight class that requires you to weigh several pounds less on the scale than you walk around at normally. The process of losing that weight in the final days before the weigh-in is a process your body resists with everything it has. Saunas, running in sweatsuits, restricting water in the final 24 hours until your mouth is so dry that swallowing is effortful. You step on the scale and make weight, and then you spend the next 24 hours putting it all back on before you fight. This is the hidden sport inside the sport, the one that happens before anyone is watching. You are making money now, not retire early money, but real money, enough that boxing is the income rather than the thing you do between the job that pays the income. That shift matters more than the money itself. The shift means you are a professional in the full sense of the word. The sport is the work. The work is the sport. Your ranking appears in a governing body's top 15 for the first time, a number next to your name in a list that means something to the people who follow this sport seriously. You read your ranking on a Tuesday morning and something feels different. Not complete, not arrived, just different, like a door that has been closed for a long time has moved slightly. Level 7. The main event fighter. Your name is at the top of the poster now. Not the bottom, not the middle, the top. The fight is yours. The promotion is built around you. The venue holds 3,000 people, and 3,000 people are coming specifically because your name is on the ticket. You understand now what the main event actually means in terms of pressure. When you were on the undercard, the show went on regardless of how you performed. The crowd was there for someone else. The stakes were personal. Now, the stakes are financial and organizational and reputational in ways that extend beyond you. The promotion has sold tickets based on your name. The network broadcasting the fight has committed airtime based on your name. People have driven hours and bought plane tickets based on your name. If you lose badly tonight, something larger than your record takes a hit. You carry that weight into the ring. You learn to carry it without letting it slow you down. That is the skill of a main event fighter that has nothing to do with punching or footwork, the management of what the occasion asks of you before the bell rings. Your opponent is ranked above you. This is your step up in competition, the fight that will define whether you belong at this level or whether this level is where your story ends. The boxing world is full of fighters who looked world-class against lower competition and were exposed the moment the competition rose. You do not know yet which kind of fighter you are. You are about to find out in front of 3,000 people and however many are watching on the broadcast. The fight is hard, genuinely hard, the hardest fight of your career in every round. Your opponent is better than anyone you have faced, better technically, better physically, better at making adjustments between rounds. You are behind on the cards going into the championship rounds, and you know it and your trainer knows it, and the way he looks at you between rounds tells you everything without him saying it directly. You dig into something in the final 2 rounds that you did not know was there, something that lives below preparation and below talent and below everything that training produces, something that is just will, just the refusal. The rounds are the best 2 rounds you have ever fought. The decision goes to you by split. 1 judge saw it differently, but 2 saw what you felt. Your hand goes up. The crowd is on its feet. You stand in the center of the ring with lights on your face and the noise surrounding you, and for a moment you are not calculating anything. For a moment, you are just here. Level 8, the title challenger. The call came from your manager on a Monday morning, a world title fight. One of the 4 major sanctioning bodies, WBC or WBA or IBF or WBO, has mandated your fight with the current champion, or the champion's team has agreed to take the fight voluntarily. Either way, the fight is made. The fight is real. This is the fight that your entire career has been building toward. Every early morning, every weight cut, every round of sparring that left you sitting on a stool between rounds, wondering whether you were built for this. Every fight you won and every fight you lost and everything you fixed because of the losses, all of it was always pointing here, even when you could not see where here was. Training camp is different for a world title fight. The preparation is total. 8 weeks of the most focused and intentional work you have ever done. Everything outside of training is managed and minimized. You sleep at specific times. You eat specific foods prepared by someone whose job is specifically this. Your sparring partners are elite professionals, paid to simulate the champion's style, and they do it well enough that some sessions feel like the actual fight. The mental preparation is its own discipline. A sports psychologist works with you 3 times a week. You visualize the fight thousands of times before it happens. You see yourself in the ring. You see the punches coming and your response to them. You see the moments of difficulty and your movement through them. The visualization is so detailed that by fight night, you have already lived this fight more times than you can count. The night itself is just the version that counts. The weight of what this means is not only on you. Your family carries it. Your trainer, who has worked with you for years and who has built his professional reputation alongside yours, he carries it. The people from your gym and your neighborhood who see themselves in you and your journey, they carry it. You are fighting for yourself, and you're also fighting for everything that has gathered around you and behind you over years of becoming who you are. Fight night, the arena, The crowd is larger than anything you have ever fought in front of. The entrance music and the lights and the ring walk that feels both endless and instant. You climb through the ropes and you look across at the champion, and the champion looks back at you, and something passes between you that cannot be described to anyone who has not stood in a ring and looked across it at another person who intends to hurt you, and you intend to hurt them, and known that the next 45 minutes will be the most consequential of your life. Level 9. The World Champion. You won. The words are simple. The reality is not simple. The reality is 12 rounds of the hardest thing you have ever done. The reality is a knockdown in round 7 that you got up from when parts of your body were voting against getting up. The reality is finding something in round 10 that you did not know you had and using it to turn the fight in a direction that the judges confirmed with a unanimous decision. The belt goes around your waist. It is heavier than you expected. Not physically, the weight it carries, everything it represents, the years, the cost, the people who told you that you couldn't, and the people who believed you could, and the long distance between the first day in the gym and this moment in an arena with your name and lights outside. Your mother is in the front row. You find her face in the crowd before you find anyone else's face. She is crying and not trying to hide it. You look at her for a moment, and the moment contains more than either of you could say to the other. Being the champion changes the physics of your professional life. Now everyone wants to fight you. Your name is the one that other fighters use to build their own profile. Every contender climbing the rankings is climbing toward you. The target on your back is the same target you spent years chasing, and now that you wear it, you feel its weight in new ways. Every camp is preparation not just for an opponent, but for the best version of every opponent. The champion trains harder than the challenger because the champion has more to lose. The business of being champion is its own full-time job. Promotional obligations, media appearances, sponsorship commitments. The champion is a product as much as a fighter, and the product must be maintained and marketed and protected. Your team grows, the people around you multiply. You learn to navigate who is there for you and who is there for the proximity to the belt, and the learning is not always gentle. You defend the title, once, then again. Each defense is its own campaign, its own 8 weeks, its own weight cut, its own night in an arena where everything is on the line. The accumulation of title defenses is the true measure of a champion. Anyone can win a belt. The ones who define eras are the ones who keep it. Level 10. The Legend. The last fight ends the way most last fights end. Not on your terms. A loss. A knockout loss in round 9 against a younger fighter who was faster than you and whose timing found something that your body could no longer compensate for the way it once could. You are 34 years old, and your body is 34 years old, and boxing years are not the same as regular years. The accumulated damage of everything you absorbed in a career spanning 15 years lives in your tissue and your reflexes and the pause that now exists between intention and execution that was not there before. You do not announce retirement in the ring. You lie on the canvas for a moment that lasts longer than any moment has lasted in your life. The referee is counting. The crowd is making a sound that is nothing like the sound from when you won. You get up. Not because the fight can be saved, because getting up is who you are. The referee stops it anyway. He is right to stop it. The retirement announcement comes 3 weeks later, a press conference. You sit at a table with your trainer and your manager, and you say the words that you have been rehearsing and that still feel wrong when you say them. You thank the sport. You thank the people who made you. You thank the opponents who tested you and made you better. You mean every word. What comes after is what nobody prepares you for.
Not the money, though the money requires management that the boxing business did not always help you understand. Not the fame, though the fame changes shape without the competition to justify it. What nobody prepares you for is the silence, the absence of the thing that organized everything, the structure that training gave your days, your weeks, your years. It is gone now, and the space it occupied is large. Your body begins its accounting. The shoulder that required surgery, the hands that ache in cold weather, the headaches that the doctor calls migraines and that you call something you don't say out loud. You go to the doctors that fighters go to. You get the evaluations. You listen to the results. You make peace with what the sport took in exchange for what it gave. You work with young fighters now. You sit in the corner and you watch the fights before they happen. You watch a young fighter make a mistake you made at their age, and you call time out, and you show them. You put their hands in the right position. You explain the angle. You watch them implement it. When it works, you feel something that is different from winning, but that is not less than winning. Your name is spoken in conversations about the best to ever do it. Not always the first name mentioned, but always somewhere in the conversation. That is the place a career like yours earns. Not the top of every list, the conversation, the permanent consideration, the record that no one can erase. Somewhere right now, a child is watching a boxing match on television, maybe with a parent, maybe alone. Someone throws a combination, and the crowd reacts, and the child's eyes go wide, and something shifts in their chest, something that does not have a name yet. They turn to whoever is nearby and say something, something about wanting to try it, something about wanting to know what that feels like. They do not know what it actually feels like. They have no idea what it will cost them or give them or turn them into. They can only see the combination and the crowd and the lights. They go to sleep that night thinking about it. They wake up still thinking about it. The cycle continues.